Hello, good people, and welcome back to Unit 7 on consumerism. In our last video, we talked about the value of money, and now we're going to get into social media and materialism. So here's the thing about consumerism. Here's the thing about being a good consumer. You have to realize what things are influencing you to buy goods and services, and you've got to realize that sometimes you're being manipulated into purchasing an object is not actually because you like or want or need that object. So let's get into it. Also, just here's this meme, just for your viewing pleasure. All right. So how can people be influenced? If we know that us buying goods and services is not just because we wake up one day and we think, you know what, I would like a piece of cake. Like, sure, you can go get some cake if you want, but why did you go to that particular bakery? Why did you choose this one? Would you continue to go there? Would you not? That sort of thing. So how can you be influenced? It's either through people or media. Okay, so people including your friends, your family, celebrities. You're like, nobody can influence how I think or feel. Yes, they can. They do all day, every day. As far as media goes, you can be influenced by things that you see printed in like newspapers. I know that's not really as common anymore nowadays. On the radio, things that you listen to, photos that you see, social apps that you use, the ads that you see when you're scrolling through Instagram or in between people's Snap stories or when you're hanging around on TikTok, all of those are like tailor-made for you, essentially. So you can be influenced a number of different ways, especially like people think that you're not influenced by your friends or your family, but I guarantee you, if you start thinking about like the catchphrases you use and the lingo you use, like the phrases that you say, you can probably trace that back to someone else. There are very few things that we as humans have that are new ideas. Much of what we do is recycled, and much of what we do we pick up from other people. All right, so let's talk about propaganda techniques. So when we specifically say how can people be influenced, we're talking about these sort of like techniques can be used in order to persuade you to have a certain viewpoint. These could be used for politics. These could be used to sell you a car. These could be used to sell you, I don't know, a new pair of shoes. All right, whether or not you should go buy that cookout tray. All right, so this is not specific to just goods and services. Being a good consumer and being a person who's very critical of what they are buying and what they could be selling requires you to know what techniques can and will be used against you. All right, so the first one is bandwagon. Everybody knows about that. You buy something or you do something because everybody else is. This could also be used in politics about voting for someone. Like 90% of your neighbors have already voted for so-and-so. Will you do the same? You're like, oh, shoot, 90%. That's a lot. So for bandwagon, when you find out that your friend is a Warriors bandwagoner, listen. If you are like, I've liked Golden State forever, false. Where were you in 2005 when they were losing all the time? Okay, so as far as bandwagon goes, once everybody's hopped on the quote bandwagon, or once people start, when like teams start winning, all of a sudden their fans come crawling out of the woodwork, knowing good and well they weren't real fans. Or if you're like, well, yeah, I bought these shoes because my other friends had them. That doesn't mean that you like them. That doesn't mean that you wanted them. You only bought them because your friends had them. Okay? So that's bandwagon. And nobody, absolutely nobody likes a bandwagon fan. Just your, tidbit of the day. Don't do that. Get a team. Be loyal to them throughout whatever it is. Okay? Loyalty is important. Just saying. All right. The next one is slogans and symbols. So a consumer associates that with the product. It speaks for itself. Okay, so for example, if you see a swoosh, you know without a doubt that is a Nike product, that is a Nike shoe, shirt, headband, shorts, pants, hoodie, I don't know, water bottle, whatever it is that Nike has put out. You don't have to see the letters Nike in a row in order to figure out that that's from Nike, because they've done such a good job about using that symbol. If you see Just Do It and you see it in that slanty, like kind of thick font, you know that it's Nike, okay? You know that it is. Just like if you hear like a good neighbor, you're like, oh, I got this. State Farm is there, all right? You have no idea what State Farm is about as far as their insurance company. You don't know if they're a good company or not, but you've heard that slogan so many times that might be who you go to, okay? For example, me, I fell prey to this when I was trying to get my new car insurance. I transferred from State Farm to Geico, and I was like, you know what? Let's see if their little slogan is 15% could save you 15%, or 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And I was like, let's see. So I got me a little quote in about 10 minutes, and it saved me like 50%. So not 15, but a whole bunch. So there's that. Allstate, if they're like, are you in good hands? Like, you know that. That actor who is the spokesperson for Allstate, he's the one who voices over all their commercials. You know that it's him, okay? So if you, I don't even know what his name is. I just call him the Allstate guy. Allstate guy. This man. Dennis Haysbert. I had absolutely no idea what this man's name was prior to this. His name is Dennis Haysbert. He's on a show that I watch called Lucifer. And he plays God in the show Lucifer. And he just like walked out at the end of an episode, and I was like, oh my God, it's the Allstate man. Like, hello. So if you see that, like, you associate things with this. Oh my gosh, where am I? Over here. All right, so then, like, 3 stripes. If you see 3 stripes, you know it's Adidas. All right, if you see this, like, round, oh my gosh, if you see this, like, round font over here, you know it's Adidas, okay? If you see this print, you know it's Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton has done a really good job about their branding. Y'all, they haven't changed this pattern since, like, the early 1900s, okay? This is some old print. But Louis Vuitton is not going to change their little LV. They're not going to change these little symbols. Okay, people have tattoos of this, all right? Like, they might change the colors around a little bit. They might change, like, a little bit of the pattern. But, like, that's their branding. Or, like, if you see this, you know it's a Ferrari, all right? So if you see, like, this little horse, you know that it's a Ferrari. And that influences how you see things. Endorsements and testimonials also do the same thing. So if you have a famous or very recognizable figure promoting your good or service, people are more likely to buy that. If you're like, no, I'm not. I don't care. Yes, you do. You 100% care about what other people think, even if you say that you don't. That's kind of like what the entire like consumer goods industry is built off of. All retail industry is built off of how other people view you and whether or not you like care what other people think. All right, so like for example, Steph Curry endorses Under Armour. He is representative for Under Armour. They pay him. KD is represented by Nike. Michael Jordan obviously has his own branch of Nike. Gatorade did like a Be Like Mike thing back in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. And he had his little jingle, I want to be like Mike or whatever it is. And you feel like, oh my gosh, if I drink Gatorade, I'll be as good as Michael Jordan. You know that's not true. You know 100% without a doubt that is not true. That is false. But Gatorade is going to make you think that because they are associating this product with this person and their success. All right, now on the flip side of that, kind of a tangent to that is using a celebrity to make a product more relatable. Not just to promote it, but also to be like, oh yeah, they're normal just like you. Probably not. Or like Wrangler did this whole thing with Brett Favre, who used to be the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings for like 2 seconds. And then before that, he was the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers for a long time. So he did a Wrangler commercial, like a whole bunch of them back in the like mid 2000s. I want to say like 2005, 2006 maybe. Like, oh, he wears jeans just like everybody else. He's a multi-millionaire. He probably doesn't wear Wrangler jeans, but they're going to make you think that he does, okay, in order for you to purchase them. All right, or Obama playing basketball with people. They're trying to make him look more relatable, like, oh, he plays basketball on the weekends. He goes out and plays pickup ball on Saturday like everybody else. That man is worth $53 million. He is not like everybody else. So this is used pretty sparingly. Most of the time, if you're going to endorse something, they're just going to endorse it. But just plain folks makes them look like they're just plain folk. All right, even though they're not. So be wary of that. The next one is glittering generalities. This one happens a lot. This one can also be combined with slogans. Because typically, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. What does that even mean? Who's a good neighbor? Good neighbor how? Are they nosy? Are they nice? Do they help you out? What do you mean? So they're very vague statements that have absolutely no basis in fact or evidence, and they appeal to your emotions. They make you feel good. Okay, you're like, oh, that's so nice. You have no idea what it means. Okay, the best coffee for the best you. What does that even mean? What is the best you? That makes no sense. Or like built for tough. Okay, what does that even mean? Built for tough how? Like what truck is going to be tougher than another one? They're all made out of metal. So objectively speaking, they're not all tough. So, or like Dunkin' Donuts, America runs on Dunkin'. I thought we ran on capitalism, but I mean, okay. All right, so the Pine Sol, that's the power of Pine Sol, baby. All right. She used to do this little spokes thing like way back in the day. She still does it a little bit today, I think, on their commercials. But like, what's the power of Pine Sol? Smelling like a tree, like, and having your house clean? What is the power of Pine Sol? What is that? Or like, be Santa. The world needs more of us. What? What does that even mean, be Santa? We can't grow a beard and just like pop out a real like large belly and be like, you know what? I got this. Do they mean Santa as in like the look? Do they mean Santa as in like being nice to people, bringing cheer? What does that even mean? Right? Or L'Oreal, because you're worth it. What does that mean? Am I worth it enough to buy this underpriced box dye for my hair? Am I worth it to buy this highlighter that's probably just a bunch of glitter in a box? Like, who is worth it? Worth it how? All right, so they sound pretty. They sound nice. They're like, the best coffee for the best me. Yes, that sounds great. But it has no evidence that, like, it's based on nothing. It's just vague. It's just a statement that makes you feel good. It's empty, okay? So be mindful of that when you're looking at slogans. All right, so card stacking is another one. You list only the positive attributes of a product, like Sun Chips have less salt than you think, 30% less fat than regular potato chips, 0 grams trans fat. Very few things have grams of trans fat in them anymore. It just looks nice and takes up space on the bag, okay? Or like 18 grams of whole grain with a little heart. And you're like, that looks so nice. As much as a slice of wheat bread or whatever. So I don't know anybody who like willingly eats Sun Chips to get like whole grains, but I mean, you do you. And now a smear campaign is the opposite of that. So you tear down competition to make your product look better. So like, for example, someone took this picture of Prince William. He is the next 2 people later in line to take over the English throne after his grandma and his dad both pass away. So it looks like he's, oh gosh, zoom in. Not out. There we go. It looks like he's flipping someone off, but he's putting like 3 fingers up, but it's the same photo, but taken from 2 different angles. And so somebody was like, oh, he's flicking off the people. He doesn't like them. He's going to be a terrible king one day, blah, blah, blah. That is 100% false. Okay. He's like talking to people and holding up the number 3 with his fingers. All right. So that's how smear campaigns work. Or like Clorox has done the same thing to other cleaners. Like, do you want your house to smell like lovely lavender? How do you know that it's even clean? And like, there's a couple of companies who actually have a smell that is called that thing. There's a couple of commercials that Clorox has put out like that. They're like, get a cleaner with bleach in it. Like, just saying that someone who is purchasing a cleaner other than Clorox is just being frivolous and wasting their money. So just be mindful of